Out on the Mongolian steppe, the world stretches wide and wild, where the horizon blurs between endless grass and an ocean of sky. Here, life is carved by the wind and shaped by the seasons. Winter arrives with a sharp edge, freezing every breath, turning the ground to iron and the air to glass. Summer follows, dry and relentless, bleaching the land and testing every living thing that calls this place home. For the people of the steppe, survival is never taken for granted. Each day demands resilience, as food and warmth are never promised and every comfort is hard-won. The nomads move with the land, their homes built for journeys, not permanence. Staying still is an invitation for hardship, so they follow the rhythms of grass and weather, always searching for what the earth will give next. At the center of this world is the horse. Just an animal, but a companion, a protector, and a lifeline. Children learn to ride before they can run, and every journey, every task depends on the bond between human and horse. Without them, the steppe is unforgiving, and itself does not remember names or stories. Tests everyone with hunger, cold, and uncertainty. Only those who endure, who adapt and respect the land's demands, find a place here. Is the heart of the Mongolian steppe, a place where endurance is as endless as the sky. After his daring escape, Temüjin did not seek out the tribes that had once turned their backs on him. Instead, he moved quietly across the steppe, gathering those who, like himself, had been cast aside. He was interested only in who they had become, and whether they would stand by his side. In the cold evenings, small campfires flickered against the vast Mongolian sky. Here Temüjin listened more than he spoke. He shared each meal equally, making sure no one went hungry, and he kept every promise he made. These simple acts built something rare. Trust. Harsh steppe, trust was a luxury, and few leaders inspired it. Yet Temüjin's followers began to believe that this man, who had once known hunger and chains, would never abandon them. Temüjin's vision was different from anything the steppe had seen. Other leaders clung to birthright and noble blood. Temüjin looked for loyalty and skill. Word of Temüjin's approach spread quietly, carried from camp to camp. Spoke of a leader who valued faithfulness above all else, and who remembered hardship and honored those who stood by him. This small band was not yet an army, but it was something more powerful. Their hood forged by survival, equality, and belief in a new kind of leadership. In the heart of the steppe, Temüjin was building a force united not by fear, but by trust and hope. To truly understand the boy's world on the steppe, you need to look beyond the endless grasslands and see the lives woven into them. The steppe was never a single nation. It was a patchwork of tribes, each with its own traditions and rules, each fighting for the same precious things: land, water, and the chance to survive another season. Here, friendships and alliances could vanish overnight. One year, a neighboring tribe might share their food and warmth. The next, they could become your fiercest enemy. Trust was always a risk. Promises were made quickly and often broken just as fast. On the steppe, betrayal was not rare, it was expected. Leadership was a test, not a birthright. Chiefs ruled only as long as they were strong, and weakness was a dangerous flaw. A leader who faltered could be abandoned by his own people, or overthrown by rivals waiting for their chance. There were no standing armies, only men ready to fight when called. It came without warning, sometimes at dawn, sometimes in the dead of night. Villages could be wiped out in hours, leaving behind nothing but smoke drifting across the plains. Children like the boy grew up watching these struggles, learning that survival depended on strength and there's a weapon, and only the strong were remembered. The world that shaped him, a place where loyalty shifted, danger was constant, and every day was a battle to endure. Near the banks of the Onan River, in the grip of a cold and unforgiving season, a boy named Temüjin entered the world. His birth was marked by a strange omen. He was said to have clutched a blood clot in his tiny hand. Some whispered that this signaled greatness, or foretold a life of violence and struggle. But on the endless steppe, where survival was never guaranteed, omens faded quickly against the daily tests of life. Temüjin's family belonged to a small tribe, led by his father, a minor chief with little power. Their world was one of constant movement and uncertainty. Respect was rare, protection even rarer. Every day brought new threats, rival tribes, sudden storms, the ever-present hunger. Nights were spent listening to the wind howl across the grasslands and to stories of raids and revenge shared quietly around the fire. From his earliest days, Temüjin learned how quickly safety could disappear. Watched as alliances between tribes formed and dissolved with the shifting of the wind. He saw that only strength commanded loyalty. Any sign of weakness could bring disaster. Hunger, fear, and loss became his earliest teachers. Harsh cradle of the steppe, this small boy began to understand what it meant to survive. Each day shaped him, quietly and relentlessly, preparing him for a world where only the toughest could endure, and where one day he would rise above them all. One day, Temüjin's father rode out to visit another tribe. He never returned. Enemies had poisoned him during the feast, smiling as they poured his cup. Death came quickly, without warning, without honor. Overnight, everything changed. Temüjin's family, once respected, was left without protection. Followers abandoned them, allies disappeared. The fragile sense of security that had existed vanished in a single moment. The world they knew was gone. The boy watched as the people around him turned away, as familiar faces no longer offered help or kindness. He saw clearly for the first time how quickly power could vanish and how fragile life was on the steppe. That night, beneath the open sky, Temüjin's childhood ended. Hunger, danger, and betrayal became his constant companions. From that moment on, he learned the first and most important lesson the steppe had to teach. Strength alone ensures survival. Without it, even family, blood, and loyalty mean nothing. And so the boy who would one day become a leader began his life shaped by loss, betrayal, and the harsh, unyielding lessons of the land around him. After his father's death, Temüjin's world changed overnight. His family, once protected by their clan, was suddenly alone on the vast, unforgiving steppe. No tribe claimed them. No allies came to help. They became outcasts, forced to survive on their own. Every day was a struggle. Temüjin and his brothers dug roots from the frozen ground, their hands numb with cold. They trapped small animals and fished with their bare hands, often coming home with little or nothing at all. Hunger was their constant companion, gnawing at their strength and hope. Their tribes mocked them as they passed, some pretending they did not exist, while others saw them as easy prey. The message was clear. The steppe, weakness invited cruelty. Temüjin watched his mother fight to keep the family together. He saw his brothers grow thin, their faces marked by hunger and frustration. Rejection, each insult from those who turned away, left a mark on him. But these hardships did not break Temüjin. Instead, they shaped him. Then exile taught him to endure, to be patient, and to rely on himself. Through hunger and isolation, Temüjin learned a quiet determination to survive, no matter what the world threw at him. This was the foundation of his legendary endurance. Hunger changes people in ways nothing else can. As food became harder to find, tension slowly grew within Temüjin's family. Every meal became uncertain, and every decision carried weight. What once felt like home began to feel fragile. Arguments became more frequent. Trust weakened. In a world where survival meant everything, even family bonds were tested. Temüjin watched his brothers grow restless and angry, each of them fighting to stay alive. One day, a struggle over food turned violent. In that moment, Temüjin made a choice that would follow him for the rest of his life. He killed his own half-brother. It was no celebration, no sense of victory, only silence and consequence. The steppe offered no judgment. It did not care about right or wrong. It cared only about survival. Temüjin understood this clearly. Mercy, he realized, could cost lives. Hesitation could mean death. A day marked the end of his childhood. He learned that leadership sometimes demanded terrible decisions, and that strength often came with guilt. That moment on, Temüjin was no longer just surviving. He was being shaped into someone capable of ruling in a harsh and unforgiving world. Not long after, Temüjin was captured by a rival clan. They locked a heavy wooden collar around his neck, marking him as a prisoner. The son of a chief was now treated as property. Guards watched his every move. Escape seemed impossible. Days passed slowly. Nights were cold and silent. Some mocked him. Others ignored him completely, as if he no longer mattered. But Temüjin did not lose hope. He observed everything, how the guards behaved, when they were careless, when fear distracted them. Even in captivity, his mind remained free. Steppe had already taught him patience, and now he relied on it. The wooden collar weighed on his shoulders, but it also strengthened his resolve. He promised himself this would not be the end. This moment, one of the lowest in his life, was quietly shaping the man he would become. A man who would never again allow himself to be chained. One night, while the camp slept, Temüjin made his move. The guards were tired. The fire burned low. The steppe was silent. With the wooden collar still around his neck, he slipped away into the darkness, guided by patience rather than panic. At one moment, a man noticed him and made a choice. Instead of raising an alarm, he helped Temüjin to hide. There was no reward promised, no reason to help, only quiet courage. Temüjin never forgot this act. He escaped into the night, moving through grass and shadow, leaving his chains behind him. The first time in many days, he was free. That night taught him something the steppe never had before. Loyalty, freely given, was more powerful than fear or blood ties. It was a force worth protecting. The lesson stayed with him. Long after the camp disappeared behind him, Temüjin carried it forward, shaping the leader he would one day become. Across the endless steppe, where the grass bends to the will of the wind, Temüjin's journey began in hardship. He had felt the sting of hunger, the weight of betrayal, and the cold bite of chains. He had been left behind, hunted by enemies, and nearly broken by fate itself. Yet, against every trial, Temüjin endured. Each struggle carved resilience into his spirit, and every loss became a lesson written deep within him. Now, as he stood with the few who believed in him, something in the air began to change. The wind carried a new purpose. The silence of the vast plains was no longer empty. It was alive, watching, waiting. Temüjin was no longer just a boy battling for survival. The hardships had transformed him. He was becoming a leader, forged by memory and adversity. Far across the grasslands, the tribes remained divided, consumed by their own disputes, unaware of what was rising beyond their sight. They could not see the gathering force, could not sense the storm building at the edge of their world, but the steppe itself knew. It had shaped Temüjin with patience and relentless challenge, preparing him for something great. This was only the beginning. The rise of Temüjin was underway, and soon, the world beyond the steppe would hear his name echo across the plains.